Most urban legends begin with something distant, an old house, a forest, an abandoned road. This one doesn't. This one starts on a sidewalk, somewhere familiar, somewhere you've probably walked before. The story goes like this. Late at night, usually between midnight and 3 a.m., people report seeing a man walking alone down empty streets. At first glance, nothing seems wrong. He's tall, thin, dressed normally. But then you notice how he moves. His arms don't swing. They hang stiff at his sides. His steps are too smooth, almost gliding. And his posture, it's wrong. Like someone pretending to be human, but forgetting the small details. Then there's the smile. Witnesses say it's stretched far beyond what a face should allow. Wide, frozen, unblinking. Not joyful, not friendly. Just fixed, as if it's been carved there. Some people say they only realize how unnatural it is once they've already locked eyes with him. And that's when the legend changes. Because according to those who've lived to tell it, the smiling man doesn't react until you notice him. But once you do, he notices you back. His head turns too sharply. His smile widens. And without a word, he changes direction, toward you. At first, he walks, slowly, casually, like he knows you'll panic. Some witnesses say they tried to act normal, pretending nothing was wrong. Others crossed the street, looked away, picked up their pace. But no matter what they did, they could feel it, that certainty that they had been chosen. Then he starts moving faster, not running, never running, just closing the distance in a way that doesn't make sense. People report hearing soft footsteps behind them, even when they're sprinting. Some say they ducked into cars, houses, stores, slammed doors shut. And when they looked back out, he was gone. No footsteps, no sound, just absence. The most terrifying part. There's no recorded attack, no confirmed victim. Which raises a worse question. What happens to the people who don't get away? Because legends don't survive on sightings alone. They survive on gaps, on missing details, on the idea that something is still out there, walking empty streets, smiling patiently, waiting for someone to look up at the wrong moment. So if you're ever out late and you see a man walking strangely ahead of you, don't stare, and whatever you do, don't let him know you've noticed his smile. You're driving alone at night. The road is empty, the radio low, just enough sound to keep the silence from feeling too loud. Streetlights pass overhead in slow, rhythmic intervals, and for a while, everything feels normal. Safe, even, until you hear it. A voice. It doesn't come from the radio, it doesn't come from your phone, it comes from behind you. Soft, calm, close enough that you feel it more than you hear it. There's someone in your back seat. Your heart jumps instantly because you know you didn't pick anyone up. You didn't stop. You locked the doors. You checked the mirrors. You were alone when you got in the car. You're alone now, aren't you? Most versions of this story say the driver doesn't turn around at first. They grip the steering wheel harder. They tell themselves it's stress, fatigue, the mind filling in gaps when the dark goes on too long. But then the voice speaks again, still quiet, still patient. Don't look yet. That's when the fear changes shape. Because warnings are supposed to protect you. They're supposed to give you time. But this one feels rehearsed, like it's following rules you don't understand, like it's waiting for something. Some drivers finally glance in the rearview mirror, and they see nothing, just the empty back seat, just shadows folded into fabric, and for a moment, relief floods in, until the voice sighs. You weren't supposed to check the mirror. Others never look at all. They keep driving, heart pounding, every muscle locked in place, convinced that if they don't acknowledge it, whatever is back there can't act. But the voice keeps talking, describing things no one should know. The way the headrest smells like old fabric, the way the lock clicks louder on the passenger side door, the way it's smiling, even though you can't see it. The most disturbing versions of the legend end without a reveal. No jump scare, no attack. Just the driver arriving home, stepping out of the car, and hearing the voice one last time. No longer behind them. I told you not to look. Because the real fear of the backseat whisper isn't that someone might be there. It's that the voice knows exactly when you'll stop being afraid, and exactly when it's ready to move. And if you ever hear it while driving alone at night, remember, some warnings aren't meant to save you, they're meant to distract you. There's a ritual that started circulating online in South Korea years ago, and it's unsettling, not because it promises monsters or blood, but because it promises another world. It's called the elevator game, and the rules are disturbingly specific. You're supposed to find a building with at least 10 floors. You must be completely alone. No cameras, no phones, no friends waiting nearby. Just you, the elevator, and a sequence of buttons that supposedly opens something that isn't meant to be opened. The instructions go like this. You enter the elevator and press the buttons in a precise order. 4th floor, 2nd floor, 6th, 2nd again, 10th, then 5th. You're told not to get off, no matter what happens. At some point, the elevator will stop on its own. The doors will open, and someone may step inside. The rule everyone stresses the most is simple. Do not acknowledge them. Don't speak. Don't look at their face. Because if you do, the game is already over. People who claim to have completed the ritual say the woman who enters doesn't feel right. She might ask where you're going. She might say she's lost, but her voice sounds hollow, like it's echoing inside the elevator instead of filling it. If you respond, the stories say she'll scream. If you look at her, you'll realize she isn't entirely human. And once the doors close again, you won't be going anywhere familiar. Those who believe the ritual works say that after the final button is pressed, the elevator opens onto a world that looks almost identical to ours, except it's wrong in small, unsettling ways. The lights outside don't work, the air feels heavier, buildings are empty, and in the distance there's sometimes a red cross glowing where a city skyline should be. No people, no cars, just silence. Like the world is waiting for something to notice you. What makes the elevator game truly disturbing isn't the ritual itself, it's the aftermath. Some people claim they came back, but not immediately. Hours felt like seconds. Days passed while they thought only minutes had gone by. Others said their reflection didn't move the same way afterward, that lights flickered when they entered rooms, that people around them felt off, like they knew something had followed them home. And then there are the stories that don't end with someone returning, accounts that cut off mid-post, videos that stop uploading, warnings left behind instead of proof. The scariest part isn't whether the elevator game actually works. It's the idea that elevators, something we use every day, might already be moving through spaces we don't understand, and all it takes is the right buttons, pressed in the wrong order, to realize you were never meant to get off at all. There's something about being a kid at night that makes the dark feel alive. Shadows stretch too long, the silence feels heavy, and every sound seems like proof that something is wrong. The legend of the man under the bed always starts the same way. A child calls out in the middle of the night, scared, insisting that someone is hiding beneath their bed. An adult, half asleep, irritated, confident, assures them it's just a bad dream. Kids imagine things. Monsters aren't real, but sometimes, just to calm them down, the adult checks anyway. They bend down, lift the bedspread, maybe roll their eyes as they do it, and that's when the story changes. Because instead of dust or old toys or empty space, they see a face staring back at them, human, pale, terrified, whispering, "There's someone on the bed." That's what makes this legend so effective. It doesn't rely on creatures or claws or glowing eyes. It relies on betrayal of trust. The idea that the person we reassured, the child we told everything was fine, was actually the one telling the truth. In many versions of the story, the adult freezes in place, unable to scream, unable to move, realizing that the danger was never imaginary, it was simply unseen. Some stories end there. Others are worse. Some say the figure under the bed vanishes before the police arrive. Some say the child disappears instead. And in the most disturbing versions, nothing ever happened at all, except the child stops sleeping in their bed, forever insisting they can still feel someone breathing beneath them at night. Psychologically, this legend hits deep because beds are supposed to be safe. They're where we rest, where we're vulnerable, where we let our guard down. The space under the bed is the last place we ever really look once we grow up. We outgrow the fear, assume it was childish, irrational. This legend reminds us how dangerous that assumption can be, because it suggests that the things we dismiss aren't always imaginary. Sometimes they're just waiting until we stop checking. And maybe that's the real horror of the man under the bed. Not that someone might be hiding there, but that one day someone finally believes the child, and it's already too late. It usually starts with a knock. Not loud, not frantic, just polite. The kind of knock you almost ignore because it feels normal. Late at night, when the house is quiet and you're already a little on edge, the sound cuts through the silence. When you open the door, there are children standing there. 2 of them, usually, around 8 or 10 years old. Too still, too calm. They ask to come inside. Maybe they say their parents are nearby. Maybe they need to use the phone. Maybe they just say, "Please, let us in." And that's when people notice something is wrong. At first, it's their voices. Flat, monotone, almost practiced, like they're reading lines they've memorized but don't understand. There's no fear in them, no urgency, just insistence. Then the unease settles in, the kind that crawls up your spine before you know why. People describe feeling suddenly sick, dizzy, overwhelmed with dread, like their instincts are screaming while their manners are telling them to stay polite. And then the children look up, and you see their eyes, completely black, no whites, no pupils, just endless, reflective darkness. That's when panic should take over. But it doesn't, and that's the scariest part. People say they feel frozen, pressured, like saying no would be rude or cruel or wrong. The children don't force their way inside. They don't scream or threaten. They just wait. They repeat the request. "We can't come in unless you invite us. Please, we're cold. Just let us in." And somehow, that quiet persistence feels more dangerous than violence ever could. Some people slam the door. Some step back and lock it. And later, they're haunted by what almost happened. By the certainty that if they'd hesitated 1 second longer, they wouldn't be telling the story. But others aren't so lucky. Some legends say people who let the children inside fall violently ill afterward. Nosebleeds, blackouts, nightmares that never stop. Others say the children walk through the house, touching nothing, looking at everything, before leaving without another word. And some stories end abruptly. No follow-up, no explanation. Just a final sentence online. "I let them in, and I shouldn't have." The black-eyed children legend survives because it doesn't rely on monsters breaking down doors. It relies on something much more uncomfortable. Our instinct to be kind, to help, to not make a scene. It asks a terrifying question. If something evil knocked politely, would you open the door?